日本時間6月13日、メッツの千賀滉大投手は、本拠地で行われたナショナルズ戦に先発登板をしました。この日の千賀投手は、4者連続三振を奪うなど、5回、3分の2、77球を投げ、1安打、無失点の圧巻の投球を見せていましたが、アクシデント発生で、無念の途中降板となりました。千賀投手は、6回の一塁ゴロで、ベースカバーに入った時に、一塁手のアロンソ選手の送球が高めにそれ、ジャンプでキャッチした際に右足を痛め、そのまま地面に転がり込んでしまう事態に。千賀投手は今季7勝目を挙げ、防御率は 1.59 から 1.47 と下がり、試合終了時点でリーグトップに浮上。メンドーサ監督は試合後に、千賀は明日 MRI 検査を受けるが、負傷者リストに入ることになるだろう、とコメントしました。ここからは、試合前と試合後の現地メディアの様子を見ていきます。
So when it comes to Kodai Senga, we hear so much, Todd, about the ghost fork, and rightly so. It's a great pitch, but what about the way he uses it in concert with his other pitches?
Well, we've seen it a little bit more this season. We especially saw it in Colorado against the Rockies, and that's in using it with the fastball forkball combination. Forget about the balls that are going left to right, but you look at the whiff rate on the forkball, 42.5%, which is very, very good. 53% swing rate on the forkball when thrown after the four-seam fastball, and 0 for 26 when the at-bat ends in that forkball. So that's a lot of numbers, but what does it really mean? What it really means is when he matches up the four-seam fastball with the forkball, they're really tough to distinguish the difference for opposing hitters, and you see this as a fastball here. These are both pitch-by-pitch at-bats that end in a strikeout, fastball out over the plate. Now he's got to protect it against that fastball out of the hand. He's swinging at fastball, and the ghost fork disappears. This one's a perfect example right here. He paints the outside corner. Now he takes it a little further out with the fastball, getting him to look for that fastball. Now he goes with the forkball, starts it in the same place, and it disappears out of the strike zone. Is something that he's done really effectively. It's something that matches well because the straight over the top four-seam fastball, he can throw at any quadrant up and down, and he comes out of that same exact quadrant when he throws that forkball, and it really looks like a fastball out of his hand, but when we watch it in slow motion, it's got lack of rotation, so it just dives off the table and has that speed differential. So hitters are swinging at fastball out of the hand. The ghost fork just disappears, thus why it's a ghost. It just disappears.
Hard to see sometimes. By the way, faced off against the Nationals did Kodai Senga back on the 25th of April. Couple of runs over 6 innings in that game. Pitched well against them. Does he use the game plan? How should he attack them today?
Well, this is a team that, as we talked about with David Peterson, is a very aggressive swinging team, but they're not a huge chase team, so you got to be in the strike zone, but they're going to try to attack early. They're going to go after that fastball early in count, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Kodai go with the cutter and the sweeper earlier in the counts to try to get some soft contact and early outs.
All right, we shall see as we close in on Game Time out at Citi Field as the Mets go in search of their 6th consecutive victory, and Kodai Senga looks for his 7th win of the year. He comes in with the ERA at $1.59.
And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets go for the sweep of the 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. The Mets wake up today with the best record in the major leagues at 44-24, 20 games over 500. They've won 5 in a row, 14 of their last 17. And you've played on winning teams, Ronnie, where there is a feeling of inevitability when you get on one of these hot streaks. What does that feel like?
What does it feel like? It just feels like you cannot wait to come to the ballpark. You can't wait to see who's the next hero. Hopefully it's you. And you can't wait to spend time with each other and keep it going, whether it's a poker night on a Monday night or figuring out where to go to dinner tonight after a day game. You really have to nurture it because you want it to last all season long. How do you do that? Well, you make sure you're accountable and make sure you do your work and make sure you're authentic and do all the things that make you a good teammate. Kind of like their manager, Carlos Mendoza, who is all those things.
Because after all, it's only June 12th. There's a long way to go. But what better than being on a hot streak and having your ace on the mound? Kodai Senga goes today for the Mets.
It's going to be interesting to watch Senga today after the outing he had in Colorado with all the forkballs that he threw, 49 of them, to see how he comes back. That extra day probably really needed. Ricky Bonus, isn't it, in their bullpen, I think?
he talking to Mr. Scream?
The Grim Reaper.
Third time around the order now for Senga. C.J. Abrams is fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. And Abrams hammers one on the ground. Wide of first. Alonso. Accurate throw. A little high, but Senga's got it. And now he's hurt. He hit the bag awkwardly. Oh, boy. Senga, who injured a calf muscle last year while trying to come off the mound. This time having to go up for that high throw. And came down awkwardly on the bag. And he's grabbing at that right hamstring. And Brian Backer, the assistant athletic trainer out there. And you hope it's just a cramp, but you just don't know.
You don't know. Probably triggered by reaching up for that ball, just, you know, kind of stretching out to make that play. And then landed on the bag straight away. You know, most of the time what you see happen is a turned ankle when you land on a bag like that. Let's take a look here. So he reaches up and then he lands a little awkwardly on the back, and you could tell he just slumped back and grabbed for the hamstring straight away.
I mean, he had to reach back with his toe to be able to get the bag, and that's what created that stretch.
That's what it is. Just the extra stretch back to make sure he secured the bag cost him there.
Up on his feet now. And clearly going to come out of this game
with a big limp
and
as
you just hope that it's nothing serious. Not walking terribly, able to go down the steps himself.
You think the Hassel struggles of late, Franny, after an impressive first week and a half or so, a matter of the league now having a bit of a scouting report on a young player after?
I just think the big leagues are tough.
Alonso gives with the ground ball. Senga gloves it, finds the bag. Did he hurt himself?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, no.
It's like he rolled his ankle. Well, this is the same. This is the walk-off play with Luis Garcia.
Pete Alonso throwing high to the first base bag.
The same, like almost the same exact spot.
Ooh. Grabs the hamstring.
I mean, it's one as a first baseman that it's easy to float on, right? Like you can see Pete Alonso kind of back up a little bit, but almost fade away on that. There it is. You see the grab. But the way he touched the base, it looked like he could have rolled his ankle based on like how he landed.
Mentioned the 2 IL stints for Senga last year, the shoulder and the calf. As of the moment, the best ERA of any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. And this would be a tough loss for the Mets. Already without Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas, both on the IL. And Kodai Senga is going to leave this game. Gets a nice ovation from the Citi Field crowd as he gingerly makes his way down the dugout steps. The 32-year-old frustrated as he heads to the Mets clubhouse. We've got a 4-0 game here in New York, and an injury will force Carlos Mendoza to go to his pen.
He's going to get an MRI tomorrow. We'll see the severity of it, but he's going to be on IL here. So we just got to wait and see what we're dealing with.
Do you have to or did you talk to Pete at all? I know he's been down on his throwing at times, and when something like that happens, do you worry about it getting in his head a little bit?
Not really, but I talked to him right away. As soon as the inning was over, I went up to him and was like, hey, man, this baseball, you know, it happens. And then Senga went in and he sent the translator and basically told him, hey, I felt it on the step before the jump. So tell him not to worry about it. And that's what, you know, Senga that's what really happened. He said he felt it on the last stride before he had to jump. So it happens.
Just in the way that Senga reacted both on the field and whatever your conversations were with him off, what is your sense of how bad it might be?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to speculate, but obviously we know he's going to be down. As soon as he goes down like that and he grabs the hamstring, we saw last year, unfortunate. But yeah, like I said, we got to wait till tomorrow and see what we're dealing with here.
He was obviously having a terrific year, a terrific game before that happens. Just what is the level of disappointment, frustration, both for you and for him?
Yeah, I mean, look, you hate to see anybody go down, especially a guy like Senga after what he went through last year and how hard he was it. But I keep saying it. Injuries happen. We feel for him, but nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We got people coming, and the guys that are healthy now, they will continue to step up, and we'll feel good with our chances and with the guys that we got in that room. He's part of it. Every team deals with it. You know what? Like I said, we got to keep going. We'll get him back.
Does Blackburn probably take that next turn in the rotation for Senga?
We'll see. I mean, it's too soon. He's available out of the bullpen the next series, and then we'll go from there.
How is Senga dealing with this? I mean, he was so eager to come back and be healthy this year, and he said that last year was very difficult for him rehabbing without the team. What's his morale like right now?
Yeah, I just spoke with him. Obviously frustrated, but I told him he's going to be back, and he's going to be important part of this team when he gets back. So the main thing is waiting for the results, see what we're dealing with, and then we'll attack it. And like I said, he'll be back. He's a competitor, and sucks that he's got to go through it again, but hey, we'll get him back.
All right, so that is the manager of the Mets. It's Carlos Mendoza. There's the update on Kodai Senga. It is a hamstring strain at the moment. That's what they're calling it. MRI tomorrow. He is heading for the injured list. So that's a big impact here because this is a guy we know that he's got to be right before he's out there on the mound. This sets him back. Even if it's a short stint on the IL, we're not going to speculate here, but the ramp-up period you would think would be somewhat considerable, Tom.
Yeah, you don't want to speculate on that, right. But I thought it was interesting that Carlos said that Senga said he felt it before the jump. The step before the jump, which makes some sense because he did a great job of being gingered when he landed, and actually the strain looked more like on the left leg, on the landing leg, and that might have been because he was favoring the right leg because he'd already felt it. Regardless of that, it's a hamstring issue. It's an IL stint, and if we've learned anything about Kodai Senga in the years that he's been here with the Mets, he pitches when he's ready to pitch and when his mechanics feel good and when he says his body's healthy. And so that's why Carlos probably doesn't really have a whole lot of an idea on a time frame until they really see what they're up against and how Kodai decides to handle some of that rehab process, because he is not your typical guy when it comes to rehabbing his body. He has very specific ways to do things. Sometimes they take a little longer, but when he's right, and he doesn't want to be out on the mound unless he's right.
Gary Apple, Todd Zeal back inside our SNY studios. Infinity postgame live rolls on. Mets win a game, but they lose. Kodai Senga. It happened on this play in the 6th inning. Reaped up for that ball thrown by Pete Alonso. They get the out, but that right hamstring, he was in considerable pain. We heard from the manager say it's a hamstring strain. MRI coming tomorrow. He's heading for the IL. Let's hear from Pete on that play.
Pete, we obviously saw how down you were on the field after that play. What's kind of the swing in emotions for you when that first happens, and then Mendoza said that Senga got word to you that he had felt it before the throw?
I still feel awful because, for me, I just trying to make a baseball play, just trying to make a play for my pitcher, and I tried to make the best throw I could, and it just sucks. It sucks to be involved in that. Senga, he's one of our he's one of our guys. He's one of our guys here, and it sucks. You hate to see anyone go down. It sucks being a part of that. Things happen during the season, but I wish it wouldn't have turned out like that.
It looked like a bunch of your teammates kind of came over and encouraged you after that. What did you? How much did that mean to you?
No, I'm appreciative of their support for sure, but it still doesn't change the fact of the result of the play. Okay, whatever, we got the out, but at what cost? So, it doesn't feel good. I know it's the innocence of just trying to make a play, and yeah, obviously things happen on the baseball field, but obviously just wish it didn't happen that way.
You've been working on trying to make really controlled throws and take care of the baseball. Was there just a little bit too much on that throw?
Yeah, I mean, just the ball took me in the hole. I think who hit it, Garcia. I mean, he's a pretty good runner, so I was just trying to just get rid of the ball as quick as I could and as accurately as I could. I mean, the throw was like good because it was over the base, but obviously too high. Where I mean, he made an unbelievable play, unbelievable catch, but I mean, yeah, I just wish it didn't happen.
Have you had a chance to talk with him at all since then?
A little bit, but I mean, it's still. I mean, I feel, it doesn't change the fact how I feel, and I'm sure how he feels right now. So, yeah, sucks.
I really do think that speaks volumes, listening to Pete Alonso right there, how broken up, how tough that play is for him. And again, we heard the manager say that Kodai said it happened not on the jump, but on that last step before the jump. But Pete, obviously, as he said, he feels awful about it.
Yeah, I can understand. I can identify with it. It's something that, unfortunately for Pete, is a part of his game that he's had some inconsistency with. He's one of the best guys in the league at picking balls around the bag and getting the ball in the glove. And where he's had his issues is on the short throws. Sometimes he gets under him a little bit and they sail. That one just sailed on him. But he does a great job of getting those balls and leading. It's just the accuracy of the throw, and who could have known that a high throw is going to end up in an injury? Nobody knows that, so obviously it's something that he can't control, but he's going to feel responsible, feel bad for it no matter what. Kodai Senga, even if Kodai hadn't felt it and Kodai would do something to protect his teammate in that way, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, Pete feels bad and partly responsible, and Kodai's down and he feels bad as a result, just the way it is.
By the way, when you think about, and you say he's had some trouble with those throws in the past, I was trying to watch that throw, that particular play, because at times, that ball sails on him a little bit. What exactly was it on that play? Was it more of the same, or was he trying to guide the ball? What did you see?
Well, I've just seen that at times when, especially he's fielding the ball going away from home plate, so it's to his backhand side, he's fielding it going away and he's landing on his back foot. It's kind of like a quarterback that needs to throw a little pass over the middle, and at times he doesn't get on top of it, and so he throws with his elbow down and the wrist comes underneath, and that causes the ball to sail on him once in a while. And it's really as simple as that. It's simple to look at and simple to say, oh, could have been done this way. Not easy to do when that's what your natural tendency is. And he's trying to just lead a guy like he's a quarterback throwing the ball over the middle. Just sometimes when he gets under it, the ball takes off on him.
いかがでしたでしょうか。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーなどを中心に野球情報をお届けしています。この動画が良かったら高評価、チャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。今回も最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。